Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a good day today. Today we're going to talk about the mindset of the elite and the agenda to dehumanize Americans and demoralize the West. Now, if you guys have seen Yuri Bezmenov, he's a KGB agent that defected to the CIA like 20 years ago. And he talks about ideological subversion, which is basically a Soviet weapon of information. A weapon of information that is used to demoralize and dehumanize the West, and it is already a completed process that there's no turning back from. He said in order to reverse this process of demoralization and dehumanization, which obviously if you look around the society that we're living in today, you can obviously see that everybody has been demoralized and dehumanized, and that's a fact. He said it would take 2 generations to retrain the minds of Americans for them to be able to stand up and to succeed in this world and to stand up against tyranny and totalitarianism and socialism. He also said that socialists would not understand what the real socialist utopia even is until it was too late and the boot was already stamping on the neck of the West forever. Now, why do I start and open up with totalitarianism and all these things, right? Because when you're in a position of influence and power and you really want to conquer the world and dominate every aspect of life of every human being on the planet, there's a psychological process that happens that you have to go through in order to get to that point. You have to believe in a certain set of ideas and ideologies before you can even get to the point of anti-human agendas and things of this nature, correct? So think about this. Friedrich Nietzsche, famous German philosopher. I got my notes here. Friedrich Nietzsche was a famous German philosopher, and he basically was a major critic of Christianity, called Christians the sick animal men of the world. Perhaps he was overgeneralizing a population based off of a few individuals' heinous crimes and acts. It's definitely possible. But where are my notes? That's the question. Got it right here. He wrote a book called Antichrist, right? And the first point that I want to break down and I want to argue against is basically the first chapter. What is bad? The sick brute Christian. The process of evolution does not mean elevation or enhancement. Now, there are 3 things. What is bad? Okay, so who's asking that question? What is bad? Is it an elite? Is it a system? Is it a matrix? Is it an ideology that has been formed out of presuppositions that we did not create, that we did not make? We did not make none of these assumptions, and we, the people, did not make none of these ideologies. Every single idea and ideology is purported to us and used to influence us, to navigate us into a direction that we don't even want to go. We just go there because we've been subconsciously programmed to go that direction. Now think about this. He says the sick brute Christian. The sick brute Christian. Think about this. In the Bible it says in the last days, evil will be called good and good will be called evil. What is he saying right here? The sick brute Christian. Now let's keep it real, right? Catholic priests and some Christian pastors in history have, without a doubt, definitely, no arguments about it, have been accused of some heinous crimes and heinous acts, and we cannot look past that. We have to understand that the human mind is a sick thing. It's not an inherently sick thing, but the human mind is capable of sick things, and we have to understand the psychological aspect of the world and the psychological aspect of the human brain and consciousness and all these things in order to be able to navigate the world that is about to become reality. Now, the sick brute Christian. I would say Satanists are the sick ones. I would say they're the ones that have no morals. They don't believe in good and evil, which makes no sense whatsoever. Because if you haven't... But then again, I would understand how maybe a sheltered person would believe that there is no good and evil, because they probably haven't seen real evil. They haven't looked evil in the face, in the eyes, and seen what it's capable of, right? Now, what does he say after this? The sick brute Christian is what is bad. But who is he to determine what is bad? Who is he? Who is Friedrich Nietzsche to you? Who is Friedrich Nietzsche to you? Leave a comment down there in the comment. After he says the sick brute Christian is the one that is bad. The process of evolution does not mean elevation or enhancement. Now, why is this important that he said this? Because the process of evolution. What is evolution? Is he talking about the upgraded genes of human nature over time, or is he talking about some technological upgrade, some technological evolution? Like I said in my song back in 2020, technological renovation is going to stop the biological evolution. Listen, the process of evolution does not mean elevation or enhancement. So if you believe in this idea right here, the process of evolution does not mean elevation or enhancement. If you believe that the process doesn't mean elevation or enhancement, natural enhancement, biological evolution, biological enhancement, the only solution that you could propose in order to make sure that that process of evolution indeed does mean elevation or enhancement is to intervene with technology and to enhance humans using technology and psychotherapy and psychopharmakia, things like this, which the Bible says not to bother with pharmakia. Pharmakia will lead you down a dark road, and I have experience of this. I have experience that drugs are bad. Okay? Now, the next one is a big one. The next chapter he talks about Christianity in a very demeaning nature. We're going to see what he's saying. He says, Christianity has made an ideal out of antagonism to all the self-preservative instincts of sound life. It has corrupted even the faculties of those natures that are intellectually most vigorous by representing the highest intellectual values as sinful. Let's break this down. Christianity has made an ideal out of antagonism to all the self-preservative instincts of sound life. Christianity has done no such thing. I would argue that actually Satanism has done this. Because the highest good, I ain't gonna lie guys, that scared me. I thought they turned off the TV. Hold on, I'm trying to watch the chart though. Oh well, we'll figure it out later. So Christianity has made an ideal out of antagonism to all the self-preservative instincts of sound life. It has corrupted even the faculties of those natures that are intellectually most vigorous by representing the highest intellectual values as sinful. Now, my favorite psychologist, Dr. Jordan Peterson, right? He said in a interview talking about the seductive nature of the Luciferian intellect. Something that Friedrich Nietzsche was obviously operating under. He was operating under that frequency, that vibration of the satanic Luciferian seductive intellect, the intellectual nature of human beings, the seductive desire to gain knowledge over everything else. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is information, is dominance. Knowledge is key. You feel what I'm saying? I would argue that you must keep the Luciferian intellect behind you. Like the Bible says, God says, get behind me, Satan. He says, get behind me, Satan. Why does he say that? When he comes and takes Jesus up to the mountain and shows him all of the kingdoms of the world, and he says, I will give you all these things if you will fall down and worship me. When Jesus was fasting for 40 days and 40 nights, and he brings out some bread, and he says, just take a bite. Turn these rocks into bread. When he says, why don't you throw yourself off of the cliff? God will surely save you. He says, get behind me, Satan, for it is written. And that's because this seductive intellectual Luciferian spirit is spreading across the West. And it's spreading across the West because it has been designed to do that. It has been designed by the elite leaders to spread this ideology like a cancer, like a plague across the planet. Because they need this ideology to be soaked up by all of the youth of this generation and the generations past, and the people and the boomers who watch all their information on TV, the kids who get all their information from TikTok. This is how it is. They want people to believe in Satan and Lucifer and anti-human agendas, because when they launch a fake alien invasion, everybody will unite under that anti-human agenda, because they will say humans are a cancer on the earth. We're destroying the planet. But yet, these elite people telling us that we're destroying the planet, they're doing nothing but flying around in private jets. They're driving around in Rolls Royces, burning that gasoline. You know, they're hypocrites. And most of us as humans are hypocrites, which is a fact. So, if you say you're not a hypocrite, I guarantee I could find one contradictory statement that you've said in your life that you have participated in under darkness. We have all been a hypocrite. None of us want to be hypocrites. It seems like everybody feels like they're above being a hypocrite, but we're not. Now, let's not get off subject. So, this Luciferian intellect it's the desire for knowledge of good and evil. Exactly what Eve took a bite of the apple to gain. She wanted to gain the knowledge of good and evil. And what does God say? Never take that bite. And what did she do? She took the bite and gave it to Adam. Which is why we're here now. Correct? Now, this intellectual pursuit of knowledge and information and secret hidden knowledge, if you know what I mean by hidden knowledge, occult. Nah, but let's look at what the next chapter says. Life itself appears to be an instinct for growth, survival, for the accumulation of power. Now, alright, if you're saying to me that life itself appears to be a pursuit of power, why would you want power? The only reason you would need power is in order to dominate others. In my case, the only reason I would desire power is to use it to fight back against the dark powers of the world that are in control. But I would never seek power in order to dominate others. But a Satanist would love to dominate other people. Satanists and Luciferians and Warlocks and Wiccans, they all believe in the same central ideology. Let me just tell you what Satanists believe, what their main belief is. They believe that Satan was so brave and so amazing that he was able to buy his independence from God, even at the cost of eternal damnation. And they revel in that. They're obsessed with that rebellious spirit. They purport that to the youth through the music, through everything. And that's why now they're using intellectual prowess, because they need people that are smart to be in these programs that's going to control people and get control of their minds and stuff like that. The next thing he says, this one is crazy. It says, pity stands in opposition to all the passions that augment the energy of aliveness. Let me read it again. Pity stands in opposition of all the passions that augment the energy of aliveness. Now, what is pity, right? We all know nobody wants a pity party, right? But if you can't show pity to the homeless person on the street, even $1, is he not worth $1 worth a penny? Is he worth nothing? Is he not human? Is he not a human being like you and me? It doesn't make any sense. Human beings need to have pity to a degree. It needs to be under control and not be able to be manipulated. You can't be manipulated to show pity to somebody, but if you just say that pity is for the weak, then the weak will die and perish, and that blood will be on your hands. Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps he's correct. But perhaps we're both right. And it only depends on what your moral compass tells you. Perhaps every person has their own moral compass. The individuation process has to be completed inside an individual before they can even understand their own values, before they can even understand what they believe. You know? But I believe, my personal opinion, is that we should show pity on the weak. Because they're weak and they cannot defend themselves. They can't stand up for themselves. They're scared, they're broke, they're hungry, they're starving, they're dying, they're sick. You're just going to kill them all? Is that what you're going to do? Now, I'm going to end the video right here because the lights went out. But yeah, alright guys.